After an overnight stay in the Queen City of the South, we head off to the world's friendliest resort airport, passing through its eye-catching structure to catch Singapore-based carrier Silk Air that will give us an experience of its in-flight service as it takes us on a 3.5-hour flight to the world's best airport. From there, we get to meet again subscriber Leonard, who takes us on a quick tour around Changi Airport's famous attraction, Jewel. All this and more on Airline Travel and Airports. It's gonna be my first time to be flying aboard Silk Air, as well as my first to fly out of Mactan Cebu International Airport Terminal 2. There's an overwhelming feel as I drew nearer into this award-winning airport, and accompanying me on this moving experience is blogger Owen Nolasco of OwenTravels. Entering the departure hall alone kinda gives us goosebumps, wondering how an innovative yet simple architecture can get us awestruck every step of the way. Checking in at Silk Air counter was fast and easy, with a touch of Visayan friendliness and hospitality. And upon getting our boarding passes, we proceeded to settle our terminal fees and carried on to clear with immigration. Once done, we were off to the gates, passing by souvenir shops and other stores of fine brands before reaching our assigned gate. Not too long after our aircraft arrives that boarding eventually began. It's the usual procedure, lining up according to seat number, having your identification checked, and having part of your boarding pass torn and collected prior to embarkation. For passengers used to flying international flights out of Terminal 1 before, Terminal 2 gives you a different feel of being amazed and leaving you impressed. As we walked up to our aircraft, you guys know the ritual, tapping the plane before entering.
Tap the plane. It's our Randy Plus.
Crew members were nice and bubbly towards us, not too formal compared to the way how business class section seemed to appear. Meanwhile, as we made our way in coach, we walked past standard economy seats which seemed to have an acceptable space for legroom. I wanted to explore the cabin some more, so further down I went to the back to check what's happening at the rear galley and to see what preparations are made there before takeoff. Anyhow, despite some passengers still standing in the aisle, I had to get back to my seat as I felt the plane starting to move.
Yung mga doors closed.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again a very good afternoon.
Mamadali sila.
Okay, this is flight MI567 to Singapore.
We're already doing
I'm in your crew in charge, and our expected traveling time to Singapore is 3 hours and 5 minutes. As this is also one regional airline, we hope and welcome us to join to fly. Thank you for choosing Silk Air, a member of the Singapore Airlines Group.
And people are still standing. It is safe.
Well, it seems that the pilots were on a rush to go home, according to one passenger. For whatever reason there is, such as a quick turnaround time, it sure got passengers seated right away. As crew members walked along the aisle for their safety check, I spotted a vacant seat on the right side that I immediately took with permission. Strange is how fast our aircraft taxied towards the runway, as if our flight needed to get to Singapore on schedule, leaving the crew still checking around until our plane gets to position for takeoff.
Fortunately, we found another window seat because Owen is occupying the window seat on the other side. So they allowed us to sit here in the 18K. So we have a window, we have this view, we have the
We were soon up in the air, with most passengers taking a nap from the calming cabin atmosphere after takeoff. But for me, now is a good time to check out the contents of my seat pocket. On this Silk Air flight, what I find in front of me is an air sickness bag and a safety card specifically for this A320 aircraft that has a simple layout and easy to understand illustrations. More to what's inside my seat pocket is Silk Air's in-flight magazine called Silk Winds. It's not a big-sized magazine compared to the usual ones you find in full-service carriers, but it isn't that small either. Still, it's packed with interesting contents, from exciting stories to stunning photography, along with the latest trends. And with Silk Air being the regional wing of Singapore Airlines, it's no surprise to find its catalog Chris shop in seat pockets aboard this flight. It features products which you can also order online, as well as merchandise exclusive only to both Silk Air and Singapore Airlines. For now, I can only hang on to my budget as much as I wanted to buy a model plane, as Owen and I will be continuing on to Bangkok, Thailand after an overnight stay in Singapore. Oh well, I'll get one of those model planes sometime. Soon, crew members appear in the aisle, handing out blankets to passengers as well as towels to refresh them during flight. And not too long after that, immigration cards are distributed, which I immediately filled up while there's nothing much yet to do. And just as I was about to finish, crew members began serving in-flight meals. Perfect timing as I was simply getting hungry again. In-flight meal of fish and rice was simple yet presentable. And to tone down my hunger, I started off with bread roll and butter. After food was served throughout the cabin, crew members went on another round, offering more drinks to passengers. And to conclude my meal, I asked for coffee, which I enjoyed sipping while viewing the clouds outside my window. Halfway to our destination, there wasn't much to do that I had to walk up to the rear galley to stretch, seeing a number of passengers in their own business of entertaining themselves with gadgets, or perhaps sleeping off the remaining time till we get to our destination, which I eventually did once I got back to my seat. Shortly after, our plane was descending and crew members were seen again walking along the aisle preparing passengers for landing. Not too long after their rounds, our plane reaches our destination and touches down at Singapore Changi Airport. We arrived at Changi Airport at around 8 in the evening. Flight was uneventful and I somewhat got to rest for a bit. Good thing, as I'm expecting Owen and I will be doing a lot of walking, as Singaporean subscriber Leonard will be showing us around, especially this airport's highlight jewel. For now, all we can do is wait for our aircraft to taxi all the way to our assigned gate and make a complete stop.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we just landed and hello. Okay, we're back here in Singapore and there's still something wrong with my eye. It's swelling. I don't know. See? I don't know. I was driving the motorbike the other day and then some insect went inside my helmet and then ayun, it's swollen. So I feel like Japanese. Meanwhile, this is Owen, and yeah, we're one of the last to go. We'll just have some probably photos taken with the crew, and if we're allowed, maybe we can just get probably a souvenir shot there inside the flight deck.
It took a while for most of the passengers to disembark. Yup, we had to stay for a bit as we wanted to try our luck in visiting the flight deck. But knowing this is Singapore and considering company rules, we just simply thought otherwise and made our exit.
Thank you. Nice flight. See you again. Bye-bye. Okay, so we picked this one to the A320. Yes.
Well, we're back in Singapore. Although we were seated apart, Owen and I would exchange funny moments and observations during the flight as we made our way out of the air bridge and into arrivals. And although I was just here about a week ago, it still took a while for me to point the way to immigration, especially being distracted by the terminal's wonderful attractions. Once we got to arrivals, it got us worried for a while as we couldn't see our friend Leonard until he pops out of nowhere. Leonard is our subscriber from Singapore who speaks Filipino quite well, that he's often mistaken to be one. Now let's hear him speak a few phrases.
Alright, so we have Leonard here. He's from Singapore. He's based in Singapore. What were you saying?
Buong puso po namin kayong tinatanggap dito sa Singapore.
Oh, di ba? Oh, you say nakakapagpabagabag.
Say that again? Tongue twister na.
Shortly after meeting Leonard, we went to another terminal by SkyTrain to have a hearty dinner, trying out sumptuous dishes from both Malaysian and Singaporean cuisine. And right after that, Leonard takes us to this airport's popular attraction Jewel, with thunderous sounds of water seemingly appearing to fall out from the sky.
Back here in Changi Airport again after a week. No, last week I was here. Anyhow, so we're just killing time here. Always gonna do his vlog. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching again. We're back with Leonard.
Hi!
Sige, thank you for watching.
Hello naman!
Yeah. Well, be sure to watch Owen Travels then. He's yung version ng travel natin sa site naman ni Owen. It will be featured in his channel. Yeah.
With Owen and Leonard at Singapore Changi Airport, this is Mitch Young. Thank you very much for watching.